This episode contains content which some listeners can find disturbing, as it deals with sensitive topics such as child sexual abuse and murder.
Welcome to the first episode of Chai and Crime. I'm Najwa Waleed.
And I'm Mariam Nadeem.
And we have our co-hosts with us, Momina Bhatti and Fiza Kashif. This is the podcast where we sip on steaming cups of chai and unravel some of the most spine-chilling, twisted and jaw-dropping true crime stories from across South Asia.
Whether you're curled up on your sofa or stuck in traffic, we're here to bring you tales of mystery, murder and mayhem, all steeped in rich, complex flavors of Desi culture.
From unsolved disappearances to notorious scandals that rocked entire communities, we explore the darker side of the subcontinent, one sip at a time.
So grab your cup, settle in, get ready, because it's time to spill more than just tea.
Today we're going to be examining this 2025 Bahawalpur-based case of Fiza Bibi, a third-grade girl's rape and murder, and there's quite a shocking twist that follows. So on March 24, 2025, the victim, who was a young girl called Fiza Bibi, she seemed to vanish when she left her home. So she had gone to a local pump to collect water for her family, and her family, along with her friends and stuff, they became extremely worried when she didn't actually come home that day. So there was a large-scale search operation launched. Her friends were involved, her family, all the locals of the village, and no one could seem to find her. And there's a lot of conflicting reports about this because of the news stories, like they're all over the place. But they're sort of reporting that either a local or a family member saw the girl walking out of a sunflower field. And she was walking perfectly fine, but she was bleeding from her neck. And she seemed to be sort of responsive, but there was no, like obviously she's bleeding from her neck, like she's literally been cut on the neck. And so she's walking towards them, and they run towards her. They try to offer her help and water, but she collapses and she dies on the spot.
Okay, so autopsy reports confirm sexual assault and multiple fatal knife wounds. So what's really sad about this case is that the four suspects were her maternal uncles and two cousins named Umar, Anas, Kamran and Mahmood. So the police tested the DNA on the victim's body, and using forensic methods, they were able to match that DNA to the suspects. The initial report suggested a possible property dispute as a motive, though the motive remains unverified and still unclear what the clear motive of the case was.
Okay, so here's where there's a sort of weird twist in the case. Because, I mean, the police had arrested these people within 72 hours, right? So they claim that they've got the people and they've got these forensic reports. And as far as our research goes, these are not available to the public. But the four suspects were being taken, they were being transported basically. They had gone to show the murder weapon, and they were being transported back to the Thana, or the, like, what would you call it in English? Police station, yeah. So they're being transported back to the police station when allegedly 7 armed men came and attacked the police convoy that was carrying these 4 suspects. And so the suspects, they were killed in this shootout, or this encounter, if you will. And the police admit that they were the ones that killed them. But they cite it as self-defense against these 7 men and the 4, suspects. But, there's something kind of fishy here, right? Because none of the policemen were injured. There was no, clear suggestion. They're claiming that they're still looking for these 7 people, by the way. But there's no actual indication of where they are or who they are. And they said that these 7 people were friends or family, basically someone that was trying to get these 4 suspects freed from police custody. But there's no evidence of this. And the police investigated themselves, and they found, of course, no wrongdoing. And this is, I don't know, something about it feels weird to me. It doesn't sit right with me.
So ये वाला जो part है कि the reports were not made public and only knives and sticks were recovered as weapons. What sticks?
Dandiya sticks.
Wooden sticks.
Supposedly police ने
attack.
उस police को attack जो किया हुआ था.
And in self-defense, they murdered those 4.
Okay, I agree with you, Momna, but I don't understand कि यहाँ पे पहली बात कि the postmortem reports were never made public and only knives and sticks were recovered as weapons. So यहाँ पे what did the police really do? There's no evidence of anything regarding this case.
Guys, that's exactly what I mean. It's something odd here. do you guys have any theories? Because I feel like I have a few.
Let's start with what
What do you have to
think.
say? Yeah, what do you
Like,
have to say?
Okay, so first of all, there's two things that were going around in my mind. And obviously, let's keep in mind that this is all alleged. Nothing is confirmed. And like, hum sabko pata, we all know that like, our media is not necessarily the best. Our police work isn't great. There's not a lot of information available to us, so all we can really do is speculate. But we're not condoning that anyone should go and like, you know, like, don't take it as fact. This is just what we're speculating. But I think that it could have been that like the family maybe was involved with the police to get these guys killed. Like, it's not unheard of that, you know, there are a lot of cases of vigilante justice. But another thing which is sort of like, you know, like the 72 hours, the arrest being so quick, like, it feels weird to me at least, because we're not used to seeing that kind of swift justice. Like, I think there
doesn't
could be
add
a
up.
cover up or
Yeah, it
something.
doesn't add up.
Like, maybe the police were involved in the crime. Like, it
हो
is
सकता है किसी ने
a...
पैसे लिए हो इधर उधर
Yeah,
से, maybe,
like
you
that,
never know.
exactly. Maybe they were being blackmailed by the four suspects and they needed to get rid of them. Because how is it possible? You've got 7 supposedly armed people attacking you.
Yeah, and the police didn't उनको custody में लेके गए थे. They were unharmed.
Yeah,
So
the
how can
police
they
had
claim that they
no-
were being defensive and they killed the victims?
But I feel यहाँ पे एक और चीज़ ये भी हो सकती है कि it's very smartly played. कि आपने पहले एक तो you murdered somebody, you raped a young girl, उसके बाद फिर जो फैमिली के विक्टिम्स थे जो भी थे उन पे भी अटैक हो गया जो आपके सस्पेक्ट्स हैं, और वो इतना स्मार्टली प्ले किया गया है कि किसी पुलिस आर्म आपने ऑफिशियल को हार्म किया ही नहीं है. सो दैट डजंट, वो आपको कोई मतलब यहाँ पे कोई ना कोई केस बनता है ना कोई एफआईआर बनता, बिकॉज आपने किसी ऑफिशियल को यू नो किसी तरीके से हर्ट नहीं किया.
Basically cannot be held
वैसे
accountable.
that I feel like इसमें कुछ उस तरह हो सकता है, like
मसला है ना.
the vigilante justice
Yeah.
वाला point, it makes sense because at the end of the day, like, हमने vigilante justice बहुत देखी हुई है, हमने police corruption, we've seen a lot of it, but we haven't sort of seen a hybrid. So that was my initial
in what
theory,
sense?
in the sense that like the police and the victim's family working together. Do you get what I mean? That was my initial thought. कि maybe
But do you seriously think कि अभी एक उनके साथ इतना tragic experience हुआ है, they
that's
just lost
exactly
their
why I
child.
don't.
तो इतना मतलब 24 hours के अंदर अंदर they planned this thing out,
मतलब
उसके बाद
that's-
मिल के और you know
That's
वो
not
resources-
shocking to me. I think कि probably police involvement पे शायद ना.
लेकिन इतने कम टाइम में आप पुलिस को इन्वॉल्व कर कैसे सकते हो कि आपने पहले उनको वो भी मना भी लिया, बिकॉज लेट्स बी ऑनेस्ट पाकिस्तान
I
में
mean, bro, money, even
Yeah,
a
but-
little bit of money for the police, वो तो कुछ भी ले लेते हैं, bro.
ठीक है, लेकिन वो इतना जल्दी तो नहीं होता ना, और ना पुलिस इतनी ज्यादा
I think the time,
प्रॉम्प्ट
like,
रिस्पांस होता है.
the time frame, it doesn't उस तरह matter to me in the sense कि like how fast were these guys killed. Like, I think if someone wanted to, वो तो like it could be a matter of hours. Forget a matter of days. If someone really wanted to enact justice.
But हो सकता है कि
But-
फैमिली इन्वॉल्व नहीं ना हो, वो जो
Yeah,
original suspects थे
that's the thing.
उनकी family
That
involved or
makes a lot
something.
of sense.
या कोई थर्ड पार्टी भी हो
That's
सकती
what
है.
third
I
party
think
हो
that's what
सकती है.
Momina's theory is कि ये पुलिस के अंदर ही कोई घपला हुआ है जिससे ना मामला
Because
सारा
look, they would have had to know कि when these people are being transported, because they were not
exactly.
in the prison, they were coming back from finding the murder weapon or something along those lines. So like they were not in custody at that point. Do you get what I mean? Like they were not within a jail cell or something. They weren't stuck somewhere. They were moving. So there's some element of planning to that.
There's always
And some element of knowing, even let's say that the majority of the officers were not involved. What if there was a family friend? I mean, it's a village, right? It's
No,
a
close
smaller
connected.
area.
Yeah.
There could even be one police informant that just told them कि like, you know, that if we're looking at it from the angle of the locals wanted justice, the family of Fiza wanted justice, like that's that angle. But again, like there has to be some level of police involvement.
क्या ये उनका तरीका होगा ऑफ जस्टिस, बिकॉज पाकिस्तान में अगर आप केसेस करो तो वो काफी साल चलते हैं. मे बी दे वांटेड समथिंग क्विक और उन्होंने कहा
Exactly.
यार बस मान ही लेते हैं, बात ही खत्म करते हैं.
चलते क्या है, like honestly a lot of these cases get thrown out with no justice.
Exactly.
So I
वो
mean
भी
you
ज़्यादा
really
काम
have
हो गया
you
ना
have to
कि-
question.
Yeah, it's more like taking justice in their own hands.
Exactly. That's what I don't know. It makes sense, but I feel like there has to be an element of, like, I was not thinking about this until it literally just came into my mind that, like, the fact that they were being moved, like, that doesn't add up. Like, there had to be someone informing them.
But अगर हम initial उसकी बात करें कि what led to the whole murder and the rape, वहाँ पे we don't have a clear motive कि वो ऐसा हुआ क्यों.
Yeah,
And
we
it's
don't.
really
Property
sad to
disputes
find
हो
out कि
सकते हैं.
आपके own uncles इसमें involved हैं यार.
Exactly.
कितना
Uncles, cousins,
कितना
people
betrayal
that you
feel होता है family
trust,
को.
bro. Like, I
It's
mean,
your own family, your
that's
own
another
blood.
thing. Like, we have to really look at our society as a whole. Where are we going wrong with this, bro? There's so much sort of justice. We're sort of not justice. Sorry, that's the wrong word. It's like injustice because, like, all these men, they'll be having fights amongst themselves. And at the end of the day, how do they take their revenge on each other? They go after kids. They go after women.
Always.
Like,
Why
it's
do they have to
so
pay the price?
You
easy
remember
target
Yeah.
है यार,
पुराने
इसलिए.
ज़माने में जब there were tribal fights and fights between different
Yeah.
groups and ethnicities, तो उनका response क्या होता था, उनका revenge tactics क्या होते थे कि used to kidnap women, they used to marry, like illegally marry कर लेते थे, rape करते थे, इस तरह की चीज़ें, only to women and children, never the men, because of obviously the men were out of their reach. Like कि हम the best thing that we can do is harm their women and children.
go after whoever is vulnerable.
Exactly.
और peaceful tradings भी women and children के
हमारे
लिए होती
कल्चर
रही
में
हैं.
हमने ज़्यादा इज्जत और इन सारी चीज़ों को एसोसिएट भी तो अपनी औरतों से ही
Yeah.
किया हुआ होता है ना.
That's
या
so
बच्चों से किया
true.
हुआ. That's like ego
Exactly.
पे
That's so
I think
valid.
करना है
वो
तो
औरत एक symbol बना दी जाती है
Yes,
कि ये है,
exactly.
तो if you want to attack someone's honor, you attack someone's woman. So that is the thing.
It's just so sad, bro. Like, that's a child. Like,
Third
A
grader,
third
yeah,
grader.
Third grader. Can you imagine what was probably going in her head when she was walking out of that field?
and I mean, the level which they went to. They raped her. They stabbed her. They slit her neck and they left her for dead. They did not know that she was still breathing and alive, or at least, like, that's what I believe. They wouldn't have just left her if they thought she's alive. But it's just so disturbing.
इस पे हम अपनी मीडिया पे भी बहुत क्वेश्चंस रेज कर सकते हैं. उन्होंने कोई कवरेज ही नहीं किया है. There's lack of coverage on it. सही से एविडेंस नहीं है.
Exactly.
unsure.
When we were researching the case, I think I came across the main page where I found this from. There's this really cool page on Instagram called Voice for Justice, and they bring up these Pakistani cases and sort of try to bring attention to them. Because, I mean, had any of you heard of this before?
No.
We had suggested it as, like, one of the episodes sort of ideas for this podcast. Like, no one had heard of it. When I went to go research on it, there was a total of, like, 5 articles. A lot of them were, like, low-key copying each other. There was no level of detail. Like, it's quite upsetting, and just the fact that this was not mainstream news.
Just because ये cases इतने common हो गए, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि एक तो headlines इसके ऊपर coverage आए. That's not
And, like, the
way to deal
main
with it.
reason why this was even in the news, like, there was one article actually written from the time when this whole, like, the rape and murder actually happened. The rest of the articles came out after the uncles and the cousins were killed. Like, only when there was sort of an element of spiciness, if you will, or, like, excitement to the case. Like, it's so ridiculous. Everyone deserves a voice.
Yeah.
And, like, when you're a media person, when you're a journalist, you are speaking for the voiceless. It's your responsibility to find these people and tell their stories. So, like, our media also, it was really disappointing. I mean, even you guys can probably tell when you're listening to this, like, there's a lot on our side that we can't tell you because it's just not
Lack
there.
of information है हमारे पास बहुत ज़्यादा. So we can just come up with theories and our own perspectives इस case के ऊपर से कि क्या हुआ है क्या नहीं हुआ actually.
Yeah, and like Fiza was saying, like, it highlights so many of our societal failings. So many. There's no due process from the police. I mean, this might sound a bit controversial, but regardless of the fact that these 4 men were guilty of such a heinous crime, a disgusting crime, everyone has the right to a trial.
Yeah.
They were not given that.
The police just gave a statement, right? That's how they ended the case.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just like, you know, there's failings in the sense of justice, sort of our justice system. And I can understand the vigilante sort of aspect of it, of coming and killing it, if that was the case. I mean, the police, let us make this clear, the police say that they were ambushed. We are the ones that feel a little bit iffy about that because something there doesn't feel so right. But, like, there's just sort of this element of, it doesn't make sense, right?
There's a lot of missing information. बहुत ज़्यादा loopholes हैं इस case में.
So there's media failings, there's justice failings.
एक और चीज़ भी मुझे याद आई, I read a book, वो इसी तरह की किसी पाकिस्तानी सोसाइटी के ड्रॉबैक्स पे थी. तो वहाँ पे मैं केस पढ़ी थी कि इस तरह की पुलिस के ना ये मेड अप स्टोरीज बहुत ज़्यादा एग्जिस्ट करती हैं इन पाकिस्तान, स्पेशली जैसे ये गिलगित वाला एरिया है या बहावलपुर है या जो हमारी विलेज साइड है, वहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा होता है कि अगर आपने किसी भी स्टोरी या नैरेटिव को, इफ़ वी टेक ऑन दैट असम्पशन कि ऐसा हुआ है, दो वी नॉट श्योर, लेकिन अगर ऐसा हुआ है तो यूजुअली पुलिस ऐसे करती है कि दे फ्रेम द होल सिचुएशन कि हमारे ऊपर कुछ अटैक हुआ है या हमारे लिए हुआ है, एंड देन दे जस्ट गेट रिड ऑफ दोज एविडेंसेस जो आपको मिल रहे हैं. बिकॉज अगर हम ये करते हैं कि ये एम्बुश नहीं हुआ था एंड देन दे वर ट्रांसपोर्टेड टू वेयरएवर दे वर गोइंग, तो एक प्रॉपर केस होता, एक प्रॉपर उस पर इन्वेस्टिगेशन शुरू हो जाती इन एवरीथिंग. सो एक ये भी हो सकता है कि दे वर जस्ट ट्राइंग टू गेट रिड ऑफ द होल वो, या अगर वो इन्वॉल्व थे और इन्वेस्टिगेशन में पता चल जाता कि पुलिस वाज इन्वॉल्व, तो वो एक बहुत बड़ा सेटबैक होना था और जो भी ऑफिशियल्स होते हैं उनको
स्कैंडल बेसिकली.
सो और यूजुअली जो मैंने वैसे खैर जिस बुक की मैं आपको वो रेफरेंस दे रही हूँ उसमें ये था कि दे डिड इट मोर स्मार्टली कि जितने भी वहाँ पे पुलिस ऑफिसर्स थे उनको चोट लगी थी या तो देवर उनको मुक्के मारे गए थे या किसी तरीके का कुछ था कि बस ब्लड इन्वॉल्व, उनकी गाड़ियाँ ख़राब कर दी या समथिंग कि जो पता चला कि इट्स एन एम्बुश, वहाँ पे अटैक हुआ है. बट दिस मेक्स नो सेंस बिकॉज कुछ भी नहीं हुआ ना ऑफिशियल्स हार्म हुए ना उनकी व्हीकल्स को कुछ हुआ है. लाइक देयर इज नथिंग.
I mean, like
क्लीन स्लेट है.
Maybe it's in the within the realm of possibilities and we're being cynics, but something does not sit right. Like, do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I get it. Like I was saying, like I get the vigilante aspect because often that's another failing of our justice system. Often when the case actually goes to court, like through corruption and stuff, it gets thrown out.
True.
I can understand that aspect. But I mean, again, that's a failing of the justice system. We should be competent enough that justice is being given. Like it's just ridiculous.
मुझे बस इस बात पे चलो लेट्स जस्ट अज्यूम कि ये सच में एम्बुश था, सारा कुछ था, पर मुझे बस ये बात समझ नहीं आ रही कि अगर मतलब ये एक प्लॉटेड सिचुएशन है तो विद इन 24 आवर्स आपने इतना ब्रिलियंट प्लान भी बना दिया और उसकी इतनी परफेक्टली एग्जीक्यूशन भी होगी. आई जस्ट डोंट गेट इट कि या तो ये बहुत प्री प्लान था इसकी वो सारा कुछ था कि जस्ट ट्राइंग टू हाइड, बट आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड कि जब कोई मोटिव ही नहीं है तो इतना आपने क्यों अपना काम लेना है सर पे, एंड व्हाई डू यू हैव टू इतना केओस या इतना फ्यास को क्यों आपने क्रिएट करना है. I just don't get that.
I'm bouncing off your point. I mean, for all we know, there could have been a clear motive and it's just not being reported. Again, a media failing. Like,
could be.
Well, now we need to ask what failed the little girl. The system, the media, the community, or her family.
And we don't have any statements from the family, right? The victim's family.
well, nothing that I could find.
There's no
coverage
coverage.
ही नहीं है तो वो फिर अपनी साइड ऑफ स्टोरी कैसे बताएंगे? How would the public know कि हुआ क्या है असल में?
We don't know if they
क्योंकि आपने
actually...
ना रिपोर्ट्स पब्लिक की हैं ना आपने जो वेपन्स हैं आपने बस बता दी कि ये चीज़ें बस पता चली है, nothing else.
पंजाब पुलिस की बहावलपुर का वाकया है जिसका मतलब है कि DPO या RPO इनमें से किसी को somebody must have been corrupted on the higher level, तो जिसकी वजह से ये मामला ज़्यादा ख़राब हुआ है. कोई ना कोई एक इन्वॉल्व ऐसा बंदा होगा, अगर तो ये कवर अप है तो जिसकी वजह से जो है ना मामला और ख़राब हुआ है या मतलब चीज़ इस तरफ सस्पेक्ट की जा सकती है कि दिस वाज अ कवर अप, वरना तो पूरा मामला फौरन से साफ जाहिर हो जाता है ना. व्हाई इज दिस स्टिल a gray area?
And I mean, you got those suspects within 72 hours. Where are those 7 armed men?
Exactly.
Why
They're nowhere to be found.
And they're a threat to you. You claim that they attacked you. You killed the suspects who were presumably like handcuffed and chained or something.
They had...
So why did you not go after the people that were actually attacking you? Where are those people?
Exactly.
And they're still not found.
They're still not.
No, not as far as the recording. Like, I mean, it is quite a recent case. It just happened in March of this year. So the information is limited, but exactly. Like, if you can move that fast with, you've got, like they claim they've got forensic data within 24 hours. Like, that's crazy.
मेडिकल में वैसे मेडिकल में इतना वक्त तो नहीं लगता, 15-20 मिनट का काम होता है.
DNA samples.
DNA
it takes time
sample.
now.
And you need to have confirmed suspects कि आप पहले उनसे DNA लोगे
To match them.
फिर आप उस बच्ची के उस
हाँ,
like
that
वो
is
जो
a lot.
autopsy था, then you're gonna match like whatever DNA was on the body.
That is a long process.
So I mean, something about it is weird. Achha, also something that's a little bit interesting, and this like alludes to sort of our cultural practices as well. But these 4 men that were accused of the crime, there was a lot of protest over their funerals and whether or not they would be allowed to be buried in the local graveyard. And basically, jo local elders the, they came together and they sort of resolved the matter through talks.
पंचायत होती है.
जो village के जो
I
बड़े
don't know what
घर-
it's
I think it's
हाँ
called
पंचायती.
पंचायत,
हाँ.
So they came and they sort of talked it out, and eventually they were allowed to be buried. But this also sort of like there's an impression that the locals believe, and like this is a whole village, a whole community. It's not just the victim's family that is saying this, but it sort of alludes to the fact that they believe these men were capable of that crime. So that is something to think about.
Indeed. I think ये बहुत मतलब उस तरह उनके लिए भी ये बहुत far fetched idea नहीं था. Maybe they were like कि हाँ ये हो सकता है. You know, it's not something that नहीं हमारे लोग तो नहीं कर सकते.
Yeah.
Maybe again, you know, this is believable. We understand हाँ ये हुआ है. Okay, I believe that is all the information we have for you in this case. What do you think was the motive for the crime? Let us know in the comments. Follow us at the Chai and Crime Podcast on our socials for case updates. If you have any insights on any case you'd like to hear about, DM us on Instagram.